Will this be Bitcoin's defining moment or not? Now, Bitcoin's just a teenager. Now, it's only 13 years old, and it's being thrust onto the stage as the world watches the Freedom Convoy that's going on in Canada. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down what is going on in Canada, what's really at stake here, which is a lot more than what you may realize. I'm going to talk about what happened with $10 million of stolen money, how Bitcoin fixes this, and the final message and warning that Bitcoin founder Satoshi Nakamoto left before disappearing for good. Now, whatever your perspective is on this, it's about to be turned upside down. So let's go. All right, now welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss, and I make these videos to change the way you think about money because almost everything that you've learned is wrong. Now, today, we're talking about Bitcoin, being a teenager. We're talking about some protests, some things, demonstrations that are being done for freedom and for other things. And what the heck does all this have to do with money or changing the way you think about money? Well, like I said, I'm going to change the perspective that you have on all these things. So let's go ahead and dig in. All right, so we're talking about this trucker convoy that's going on in Canada right now, but really this isn't what we're talking about. All right, I'm using this as an illustration to show you something much bigger about Bitcoin, about money, about payments, and about how if we can fix the payments, if we can fix the money, we can fix the world. Now, if you don't like Bitcoin, substitute whatever cryptocurrency you want in for Bitcoin. If you don't like the Truckers Convoy, substitute all of that. And let's just talk about how fixing the money can fix the world. So let's look at this for a second. So right now, this is the Trucker Convoy that's going on. I'm not going to dig super deep into that. There's a lot of coverage that's been going on about that. It's about 50 miles worth of trucks that have been parked out there. There's millions of people that have shown up from all over Canada to join into that. And really, it's in response to freedom. Now, like I said, you may or may not have heard about it. It seems to be making a lot of news. It depends on where you get your news, of course. If you're on Twitter, you can see a lot about it. If you're watching CNN, you're probably not seeing much at all, but you can see all of these stories that are happening if you can go on to Twitter, if you can use DuckDuckGo for your search engine, and you can find some of this stuff. I don't really want to go into deep into exactly what's going on, but I can tell you that they are there in response to freedom. So some of the media is saying that they're fringe, that they're racist, they're misogynist, whatever it is. That's not the case. They're actually very peaceful, and they just want their lives back. That's all they're asking for. Just roll back to how things were 2 years ago and everything can go fine. That's all they're asking for. And here's a picture of that. Okay, but look at it. We're not talking about this specific thing, but I'm going to show you how if we can fix the money, we can fix the world. So is this fringe or nah? Well, Justin Trudeau calls the truckers fringe. He said that they do not represent the majority of Canadians. As a matter of fact, they represent a small fringe area of society. Is that true? Well, maybe we don't know, but actually I think we do, and I'm going to prove that to you. So here we go. The Freedom Convoy. Trudeau calls trucker protests a fringe minority with unacceptable views for most Canadians. They do not represent Canadians, he says. They are fringe. They're extremists. They're bad people, he says. That's what he says. Well, Elon Musk, who, again, he probably matters about as much as Trudeau, well, he has less motivation. He calls Trudeau's government the real fringe minority in the trucker protest. Elon Musk said this weekend's trucker protest against the Canadian federal government, calling Trudeau's administration the real fringe minority. So who's the real fringe? Is Justin Trudeau's government, do they represent the majority of Canadians? Or do the truckers represent the majority of Canadians? How do we know? I mean, we have one person saying one thing, Trudeau says another. Have they done a poll? Have they done a survey? How do we know? Well, there is a way that we can know, and I'm going to show you what that is. And this is the most important way that you and I get our voices heard ever. This is important to understand. Here's Freedom Convoy Canadian Truckers was approaching $10 million as of Monday evening, which is more money than the major federal political parties of Canada raised during the last quarter of 2021. They say we are a peaceful country that has helped protect nations across the globe from tyrannical government overreach, government trying to interfere with every area of your life, who oppress their people. And now it seems it is happening here. So they raised $10 million before GoFundMe shut that down. But here's what's interesting about that. So how do we know, is Justin Trudeau right and they're a small fringe, or is Elon Musk right and it's the government that's the fringe? Well, again, they didn't run polls. They didn't go ask people to vote. So how do we know? Well, the best way that you and I vote is with our money. That's how we vote in a free system. If you want to vote for something, you go vote for it with your money. And what we can see is that GoFundMe raised $10 million for the truckers. At the same time, in the last quarter, Trudeau's campaign raised 3.7. So the truckers raised 3 times more money. 3 times more people support Trudeau, potentially. The opposing Conservative Party of Canada collected a little more than 3 million. Democratic Party raised 1.8 million. Green Party raised about 800,000. And this one raised about 150,000. So the people supporting the truckers raised more money than all of the political parties in Canada combined. So while we didn't get a poll, we didn't get a vote, we have to listen to somebody's word. I say people voted with their money and they tell us the truth. Vote where you actually have skin in the game. Anybody can check a box. When you give money, that's real conviction. Now, GoFundMe is rip off. It's a rip off. What happened? So over $10 million was raised through GoFundMe, and then GoFundMe stole the money. They seized the money. They said, we're not going to give up the money. They tried to steal it. They said, we're not going to give it out. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do with the money is we're going to give it out to groups that we like, that we approve. We're not going to tell you who they are, but whoever it is that we like to give money to, we're going to steal those people's money and give it to them. Can you imagine that? The amount of outrage that was promoted. Now, they said that, this is not peaceful, and so we can't support that. Really? Because GoFundMe has supported many ones that were not peaceful. As a matter of fact, Rep. Jim Jordan from the United States government says that GoFundMe promoted the Antifa-occupied chop zone in Seattle. Was that peaceful? They supported that. They shut down fundraisers for truckers protesting this, all right? So we can see here that GoFundMe allowed funding and bailing out violent BLM rioters out of jail, but they deny peaceful freedom protesters. So what is it really that they've done? On top of that, they've had to censor it. So then so many people started going to Trustpilot to say how bad GoFundMe was that they had to shut down their entire site because the bad reviews were piling up so bad. The same reason why you can't give me thumbs down on this video right now. Because they don't want your voice to be heard. They're okay getting the thumbs up, but if you voice your opinion and give it thumbs down, which I'm sure some of you are giving me thumbs down right now, but I won't see, haha, joke's on you. I'm just kidding. I always ask for your thumbs down. I care about your opinion. I'm not trying to censor the truth like they are. If they don't get what they want, they censor the truth. Now, censoring doesn't prove that you're right. All it does is prove that you have something to hide, in my opinion. Now, by the way, if you're watching this, feel free to give me some thumbs up right now and give me some comments, because just the nature of this content that I'm giving you is most likely going to get me shadow banned, at least on YouTube. And if you really want to help push this up into the algorithm, the least you can do is click that like button or leave a comment to give me a little bit of engagement. Share the video. That'd be even better. All right, now, there was so much backlash against GoFundMe stealing this money. Remember, this isn't about the convoy, all right? This is about the problem with the money. So we don't have the freedom or the right to control our lives as we see fit because we don't have control over the money. So GoFundMe has control over the money and they can give it to violent people to bail them out of jail, but you can't give money through GoFundMe to peaceful people because they don't like them, because they decided. Nobody should have that power to control my money. It's my money. I worked for it. I spent my energy to get it. I should be able to give that money to whoever I want. Who is anybody to tell me where I can and can't spend my money? Well, GoFundMe certainly does. So the backlash started, and what people started saying all over social media is, don't request a refund, charge your credit card back. If you charge your credit card back, then they're gonna have to pay a $15 fee on every single person's charge. And I'm guessing a lot of people started doing that because then finally GoFundMe came around and said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and just automatically refund everybody's payment. First it was like, you have to fill out this form, this paperwork. If you don't do it by this date, you don't get your money. Then as they started getting the chargebacks, probably started getting all these fees, which I thought was amazing. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do it. And then they said, okay, forget it, we're just gonna give everybody's money back. And so it was really that amount of protest against GoFundMe that changed it. The people, we are not the fringe. We are the voice. If this is what we want, this is what we will get if we speak up. Stop being the silent majority. Now we can see here, GoFundMe backtracks on redistributing money from Canadian truckers under the threat of fraud investigation. So governors of Texas, Governor DeSantis from Florida, the governor said this is fraud. Texans, Floridians, money was sent to you, and if you steal that money, we will come after you. And they changed their tunes. Remember, we don't have to be the silent majority. We are the majority, and we should be heard. Now, let's carry on. Remember, fix the money, fix the world. So let's enter Bitcoin. All right, now, Bitcoin is just a teenager, 13 years old. It's just been around a while. Now, Bitcoin solved the oldest problem in the world. Now, sub whatever cryptocurrency you want in here, it solved the oldest problem in the world that mankind has ever had. What is that? How do I secure my property in a way that can't be stolen? So the earliest men, how do I protect my chickens from being stolen? My chicken and my goats. So we make a tribe, we make a village, we make a kingdom, we make a country. The government here is to protect private property. Bitcoin solves that. I can custody my own property, and it cannot be stolen. And more importantly, it's censorship resistant. That means no one can steal it. And if I want to send it to you, nobody can stop it, block it, or prevent it. There's no PayPal or GoFundMe in the middle of that. No bank, nothing. No one can take it. And if I want to give it to you, nobody can stop that. It's immutable. It can't be returned. It can't be charged back like GoFundMe. And then it's permissionless. If you want to open up a bank account, you have to have permission. If you want to open up a GoFundMe, as you saw, you have to have permission. I don't know. Is what you want to do? Are they okay with that? Bitcoin is permissionless. It allows me to have my custody of my property in a way that can't be taken, and I can do whatever I want with it. Now, I don't know how anybody can have a problem with that. Apparently some people do. All right, now, Satoshi Nakamoto was Bitcoin's founder. Some people do. I don't know. Look, Bitcoin is not political. I call it apolitical, meaning it's not right or left or red or blue or Democrat, Republican or socialist or capitalist. None of that. As a matter of fact, it's not even apolitical. It's actually anti-political. It's anti-political. It gets rid of politics. If you are on one side, you can use it for the other. It's money for your enemies. Nobody gets to say who gets to use it. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto, in his final message, so Satoshi Nakamoto is this shadowy figure. Nobody knows, was it a person, was it a group of people? We know about 3 or 4 of the early Bitcoin coders that worked with Satoshi Nakamoto: Nick Szabo, Hal Finney, Adam Back, etc. But Satoshi Nakamoto, he engaged on the Bitcoin Talk message boards, and the last message that he said was, I make this appeal to WikiLeaks. If you remember WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, he's been held up, been hiding out on extradition charges for like a decade now because, as a journalist, he released information the governments didn't like. That's what journalists do. That journalists are supposed to investigate these things and release this information. But of course, if you put out information on the wrong person, they don't like that. So he did WikiLeaks. He says, I make this appeal to WikiLeaks not to try to use Bitcoin. So I think it was PayPal had cut WikiLeaks off. Nobody could give money to PayPal anymore. If I wanted to support that, I wasn't allowed to because PayPal said I couldn't. So everyone said, well, why don't we just use Bitcoin? And Satoshi said, I make this appeal to WikiLeaks not to use Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a small beta community. Remember, this is 12 years ago. A small beta community in its infancy, and the heat you would bring would likely destroy us at this stage. At the stage, that was a decade ago, or a dozen years ago. At this stage, it would destroy us. All right? But the battle's been growing. A dozen years ago, it was WikiLeaks. It was a journalist saying things about people that they didn't like. But today, the battle's growing. This Freedom Convoy, as they're calling it, has been growing. It's now in the United States. 90,000 trucks are participating in the United States. In Germany, in the UK, in Australia, all around the world, the people are telling the governments to stand down. Stand down. Roll it back. You've gone too far. Get out of our lives. We're seeing censorship left and right. Joe Rogan is now bowed to the mob. I think 110 of his podcasts have been deleted in the last couple of days. Just deleted. Gone. As he's out there begging for apologies. The thing is, it's the payments. It's all about the payments. That's why we fix the money, we fix the world. We're not able to do what we want because we don't have control over our money. Joe Rogan can't say what he wants because if he's going to get paid from Spotify, he's going to do what he says. He could go out on his own, but if I can't send him money, how can he support himself? It all comes down to the payments. Fix the money, we fix the world. All right, now the battle's here. The battle's here. It's at your doorstep. Whether you want it or not, the battle didn't, you didn't choose the battle chose you. All right? The Economist, whoever reads this anymore, I don't know. A lot of people apparently still do. The Economist ran this. They said, as long as Bitcoin and its ilk, whatever that means, and its ilk, are decentralized, as long as Bitcoin and its ilk are decentralized, the ability of far-right groups to use them will remain. Sure, the ability of far-right groups to use Bitcoin will remain. And the ability of left-right groups will remain. The ability of law-abiding people, the ability of non-law-abiding people. The ability to use water. I'm sure far-right groups use water. I'm sure far-left groups do too. It's not about Bitcoin and its ilk, far-right groups. It's for anybody. Bitcoin is anti-political. If you were from a perspective of a nationalist state, Bitcoin is on the left, international left. If you're a nationalist, strong government, then Bitcoin is opposite of you because it's on the left, internationalist. But if you're a socialist state, from that perspective, then Bitcoin is on the capitalist right. Because it's neutral. It's neither. It can be used by either party. So if you're on one side and you see your opponent using it, you view it as their thing. But if you're on that side, you view it the other way. It's both a human rights and a limited government at the same time. It's lawfully neutral. It's a tool. This pen right here, it's neutral. I could use this to do harm and damage, or I could use it to write on this board. Now, The Economist hasn't stopped there. The Economist is going full ham, as we say. The charm of cryptocurrencies for white supremacists. Really? Money is for white supremacists? Code, computer code, anybody can use it. The fact that they're even trying to angle it this way is insane. What they're really saying is that you shouldn't have the right to control your own assets to use them as you see fit. You don't know best, that's what they're saying. Now, just to bring some perspective to this, this is the same Economist that I made a video about recently here, and the Economist, that's the name of their magazine, they said the sharp increase in inflation over the past year has blindsided many economists. Almost no one saw it coming. The Economist magazine said that because I've been talking about it for years. Ludwig von Mises warned us about it 100 years ago. The Economist, nobody saw that $8 trillion pumped into the markets in 24 months was going to create inflation? Really? So that's who is saying this. This is who we're getting our information from. I put this out on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, what are you even doing? You can find me on Twitter at @1 Mark Moss. Give me a follow. Take a second, pause the video, follow me on Twitter. Okay, I said that Bitcoin doesn't care about right or left. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care about right or left. Bitcoin is code. It's apolitical. It's really anti-political. It's both far right and it's also far left. Both people can use it. It doesn't matter. It's not just for the government to decide who uses it. Now, Bitcoin is ready. Like I said, you didn't choose the battle, but the battle chose you. The battle is now. Joe Rogan's being canceled now. The Trucker Convoy is being canceled now. Your money is being seized now. And it's ready. Bitcoin is ready. It's been battle tested. As a matter of fact, in 2017, we saw through the block size wars, we saw Bitcoin defend itself. Over 80% of the Bitcoin miners worked against the network and weren't able to change it. All right, we saw it survive that war in 2017. In 2021, China tried to ban mining. They shut down over 60% of the network. Boom, like that, shut it down. It's the biggest test Bitcoin's ever had. And it took a big hit in hash rate and it has gone higher. We are at an all-time high in hash rate. That is the amount of power that the Bitcoin miners are put into the network to secure it. It's stronger and it's stronger than it's ever been before. It's at an all-time high. As we can see here, Bitcoin mining has totally recovered from the Chinese ban. China did its best, couldn't touch it. Bitcoin is ready. If we can fix the money we can fix the world. It's not up to any extreme far right or extreme far left. I'm not making a case for either one. I don't consider myself on either side of the right or left. I don't even know what that means. I'm on the side of individuals being free to choose, being free from coercion. Coercion is making where I'm forced to make a choice that lead to your ends. I believe in liberty, which is freedom from coercion, the freedom to make a decision that leads to my own ends. I don't assign with a far right or far left. I believe that no one should tell me what I can do with my own personal property. And that is why I support Bitcoin, and I have to be okay with both far right and both far left using it. Hopefully that makes sense. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I'm a little bit fired up from this video. Like I said, I'm asking you a favor. I don't ever ask you favors. Share this video, give it thumbs up, and leave some comments because YouTube is probably gonna try to shadow ban this, if not ban it altogether. I know I'm really crossing the line here, but I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it because I care. So leave me a comment. All right, that's what I got for you today. To your success. I'm out.